Hello there, this is Rom Wills coming back at you with yet another video. Insecure, hella questions, Rom's review. Now, before I even get too deep into this, I know I had an exchange a couple days ago with a commenter feeling like someone like myself spending time talking about something like insecure is unwarranted or whatever. You know what? I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to get deep with y'all for a second. If you want to know what's going on with a group of people, you look at what entertains them and also what's being promoted on television and stuff, especially black people. And that's that whole image thing. I mean, that thing goes back to A Birth of a Nation in 1915. You always pay attention to it. It's not frivolous, and it's something that intelligence agencies use to either prepare or I'll say groom a culture for whatever. In fact, there was an former CIA agent, John Stockwell. He said, if you want to know what country is about to be invaded, just pay attention to whatever movies come out and who's the villains in the movies. So, I mean, I know some people might think, oh, this is just some fun thing, but, this is a reflection of relationships happening out here. Now, I know some of the older cats will remember, like back in, I think it was 95 or something, when the movie Waiting to Exhale came out. And even before that, the book. And how black women especially were responding to that. Trust me, we still are finding the consequences of that, because that whole thing behind Waiting to Exhale was, the whole narrative of black men ain't shit. So you pay attention to this stuff. Now, I might say something or do a review, and I might joke around a little bit, but you always pay attention to that. You always pay attention. You pay attention to the literature. Like even in black literature now. In black literature now, the big thing is still like the urban books. That's still the big thing. And if that's the dominant literature, it says a lot about the culture. So, I'm just looking at these things. Man, like I said, with this, it's still a lot of stuff. It ain't like it's more or less pulled right from real life. So I might talk about something there. Now, one of the things with this review, right? There were two things that kind of, there was three things really, right? One, you had the whole, the scene with Molly in therapy, and I like what the psychologist or psychiatrist, whatever she was, said. She said Molly always used the word should. Now, those 92 octanes, that's going to be a tendency for them to use that. They think things should happen for them. And like I said in my review last week, that's some real stuff. They think things should happen. They studied hard and, they went to school, did all the right things, basically trained to go get that money. But they think things should happen for them, but it doesn't. And in fact, that psychologist called it magical thinking. Everything is going to work out. And that's some real talk right there. Like I said, you're going to have some stuff in there that's reflected in real life. Always pay attention to the art, because that's going to tell you the condition of a people. Now, in fact, I'll give you an example. A lot of people might remember that show Different World back in the day, right? And it showed like a diverse group of college students at a black college. Black college enrollment actually went up during that time. So, yeah, once again, pay attention to these things. So, anyway, right? In that vein of how real life influences TV, and then how TV programs, peep that word, programs influences real life. I want to go into some of the other stuff in there, right? You know, and it was the whole thing with Tasha and Lawrence, right? I mean, she's obviously into him. But dude still really ain't feeling her. You know, he ain't see my video. Jogging about appreciate it, but he still ain't feeling it. So he just tell her straight up he slept with the ex. And you know, she did what any real self-respecting woman would do and told him to roll out. You know, so it's he rolled out. And just real quick, I hope no one's listening to this who hasn't seen it yet. You know, I hope. Maybe I needed to say spoiler at the beginning, but that should be obvious. If I put the word review on, obviously I'm gonna talk about what happened in the show. Anyway, right? So he told her, and she kicked him out. And of course you have they still had some funny parts in there. You know, his boy is a straight player. You know, he had his red suit on or burgundy suit, whatever color that thing was. I don't know about the light on my TV sometime. But, that's kind of the funny part about Issa, like going to that woman's work and like low-key stalking her. Well, not even low-key stalking her on Instagram and all of that. But, that part that at the end, well, it's two parts. It was the part at the end and then the preview for next week. All y'all fellas out there rooting for Lawrence and Tasha, the fix is in. Once again, propaganda. Pay attention to these things, right? Because one, Lawrence just went and told her it's over. Right? He told her it was over. It was just like, damn, dude. She doing all that for you? Yeah. But even then, she still invited him in to eat. She ain't giving up easily. But then they showed a preview for next week. And it was like, he had a cookout. And he's looking lost at the cookout. And one of my subscribers brought that up. I don't have my page up right now. Because I'm not that complicated. I don't feel like bringing it up. But one of them brought it up. Shout yourself out in the comments if you hear this. About the whole class issue. And I can see that's going to be a major thing next week. And you know what? Like I said, art imitates life. And I kind of peeped that anyway. Because I said, okay, they ain't going to keep them together. I mean, despite her trying to move up, she's still a 87 octane. And this dude is somebody with the potential for a 92 octane. Or really even 100 octane if you really think about it. With the potential. So I knew that was going to come in, and that's going to be an interesting thing. I'm actually looking forward to that. How that class thing will pick up. Because, you got the guy who, he's into tech. Classic man. He's into tech and everything. He went to Georgetown. And y'all people who've been to like a hood cookout, y'all know. You might be a little bit too stiff for Uncle Junior in there. So that's going to play out, and really even in relationships. And I'm gonna really get into that next episode, really, because that's a major thing that's happening in these relationships now. If we can go away from insecure for a minute. The class issue. Like, I'm going to be honest. Sometimes I don't understand. And I really don't understand why a lot of brothers who, say they're educated, say they're making all this money, are concerned about single mothers and ratchets. I'm like, y'all paths really shouldn't cross. Now, I can see the maybe brothers who more in that environment. But that class issue is a major thing in the black community, in the black relationships. And it's something we don't really talk about. It's something we don't discuss. We act like, oh yeah, we just one big happy family. And no, that's not the case. In fact, this gentleman wrote this book I talked about before. It was called Money Issues in Black Male-Female Relationships by this brother named George Sabiro. And he said any relationship discussion that doesn't take into account class is a joke. Because if you look at most of these black women complaining, honestly, it's a class issue. You know, even though they'll say there's a shortage of black men, if they were really truly honest, they'll say there's a shortage of educated black men or black men in their social class that they find attractive. Because the main problem with a lot of these women is a lot of them just simply don't find the men in their social class attractive. They actually find Pookie and Ray Ray more attractive, but Pookie and Ray Ray, they weren't in school or anything. And they might not be able to take Pookie and Ray Ray around their sedated family members. So that's a real thing. And I kind of like how they bring it up. It's a real issue. I want to see how they work it out next week. Right? Now, and that, even as I watch, I kind of pay attention more to those subtle things in there. Like I said, I don't even find the show that funny or entertaining, really, but it does bring up some serious issues, and it is doing something that thousands of relationship gurus, or even somebody like Steve Harvey or Iyanla hasn't done. It has everybody talking. And I think that's major, and that's all you can really ask for. It's got a conversation going. Now, of course, people don't agree with each other, but it has a conversation going. So, that's basically it for this one, right? But it'll be interesting because I think that class thing was something that really needs to be explored. It really needs to be explored. I mean, it's too bad that it had to be brought out in, an entertainment thing that maybe, if somebody don't, for whatever reason, don't have HBO, can't see it. But it is a major issue. It is a major discussion. So anyway, right, that's it for this one. Oh, I remember I said I was going to do a power review separate one. I don't feel like it. Just for those people who were waiting for something like that, I think it was a 5-kill show. So, and yeah, that's all you need to know. There were 5 good kills in there. So anyway, right? Anyway, I'll let y'all later. Peace.